Hi, I'm Jonathan Oxer, and this is Superhouse. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of talking about just one specific project, we're going to do a room tour. The room is my home office. You've already seen this door. This is where the RFID tag that is implanted in my arm lets me unlock the door, fire the electronic lock, and I can get inside. So let's check it out. I'll show you some of the tools that I use. Actually, before we even get inside, take note, double doors. To some extent, I crowdsourced the design of this room. When I was planning it, I did some posts saying I'm going to build my dream home workshop and asked for suggestions, and someone, I can't remember who, gave the very sensible suggestion of make sure you put on double doors. And that's what I did. So most of the time I only use this door, but sometimes if you need to bring in big boxes of equipment or large equipment, carrying tables or whatever, it's really handy to be able to swing open the other half of the door and have a nice big entrance. So if you're going to build yourself a home workshop, that's a good piece of advice. Make sure access is really easy. In my case, this is straight off the back of the garage, so I can bring things in through the roller door, through the garage, straight in through the double doors. Piece of cake. So let's check it out. So from the door coming in, it's an L shape. The room itself is about 6 meters by 6 meters, but there is a little bathroom that takes up one corner, so that turns it into an L. So starting from the entrance, coming in on the left, I have an old desk that I've had for many years, and there is a CNC machine on that. We haven't got that running yet, but hopefully I'll be using that fairly soon for doing things like PCB prototypes. And there's the big old control box with it and a PC ready to go. Other miscellaneous stuff, where you can see the wings of an aeroplane there. You'll see more of that in just a moment. So the way this room is generally laid out, there is a bench that wraps all the way around, and that goes around 2 walls. And there are distinct workstations. I know it's all a bit mess. In fact, I'm about to rearrange this room, I think, so part of the point of this video is to capture what it currently is in its normal messy state and the way I currently use it, and get some feedback on suggestions. So my general intention, the way I laid this out, was to have it centered around the computer. And you can see the computer is in the corner there. There's another status screen and monitor up on the top. And one of the issues when you're dealing with doing electronics design is typically you need to do code development and electronics or hardware at the same time. So it's important to have an electronics bench that's near your computer. So what I've done is got the computer in the corner, and then just to the left of it is a general purpose electronics bench. So the idea is you can have a project sitting on the bench and have it connected to your computer via USB, and you can be working on the hardware and updating firmware and software at the same time. And to facilitate that, there are a few interesting things here. What I've got down here is a USB hub which connects through to my computer. So the computer itself is a laptop, and it's sitting all the way back over here. There's a MacBook down there. So for convenience, the USB hub comes all the way around here, and this breaks out USB. So what I have are a couple of cables there that are plugged in pretty much permanently. There's mini USB, micro USB. So whatever I plug in here on the workbench, I've got direct access to from my computer. So this is the little bench where I do most of my work. And you can see there's an EtherMega on there at the moment. And that's because one of the things I've just been doing is an update to the EtherMega design, and I've been working on new tests for it, end-of-line tests for manufacturing. So what I was doing here was simulating the new design of the EtherMega and getting the tests working. So what you can see is the USB cable which is connected to my laptop. I've got network connectivity here on the desk and power. And that way I can do the software development. A couple of other things there. There's a Rigol scope, bench power supply, a couple of multimeters, soldering iron. This is part of the soldering iron is part of a surface mount rework station. So there's a solder sucker and there's a hot air gun down the side there. All the usual stuff. There's the hookup wire that I normally use for doing little patching on PCBs. There's a fan for blowing the solder smoke away. I need to get some kind of a fume extraction system, and just a whole big pile of tools in the middle there. In fact, this is the start of a fume extraction system. It just doesn't have the hose connected up yet. So what you see here is the primary workstation in terms of the computer, and next to it the primary electronics workstation. Now just beside this, so on the other side of the big pile of tools, is another workstation. This is where I do most surface mount work. So as you can see, there is a microscope and another set of soldering irons. It's really handy to have two soldering irons when you're doing surface mount work, because you can do the two-handed soldering iron trick, removing parts by heating up both sides of them simultaneously, doing that sort of thing. So there is a microscope with an illuminator. Oh, and you can see down there, that's an ArduSat prototype stack. So this is just something that I happen to have out on the bench because I was just working on it recently. On the top here you can see the ArduSat power supply module, and that's going to go into production very soon. This is just a prototype, and I was doing some testing on that, and you can see in the middle, that second board down is the ArduSat payload processor module, and that is the board that is in ArduSat 1 and ArduSat X that are currently in orbit. Well, right now they're orbiting because they're inside the International Space Station, and soon they'll be orbiting on their own. And other things, some little paper, some plastic cups I cut the model out of, and I use these as trays for putting surface mount parts in. Non-magnetic screwdrivers, all the usual stuff that you use when you're doing work on surface mount parts. Solder sponge water. No, that is not tomato sauce. On this thing on the wall, that's a bit of nostalgia. That is a resistor color code diagram that was made, I don't know, probably 40 years ago, maybe even longer, by a guy called Andrew Sparks. He was a friend of my parents who was an electronics technician, and when I was just a little kid, he was living in a bungalow out the back of our house, and he really got me interested in electronics. So I have that there for old time's sake, because he made that probably before I was born. So also piles of miscellaneous stuff, and no, I don't brush my teeth out here. That toothbrush is for cleaning PCBs, along with the circuit board cleaner that you can see there. And network connectivity on the bench. Now, oh, and also the other thing you'll notice here, see there's a power board attached to the wall. It's actually a four-way power point, it's not a power board. There are a total of 72 power points or GPIOs in this room, and that's because I didn't want to ever have a problem where I need to plug in a power board or that sort of thing. There should always be a power point available. So there are four-way power boards above the bench, and if we dive down underneath, there are four-way power boards under the bench, and they go all the way along, all the way around the room. And the sad thing is that even with 72 power points in this room, I've had to resort to things like power boards. And just down here to the left of the surface mount area, I've got the toaster oven. This is the one that I've used in tutorials for doing surface mount reflow. And just down next to it you can see a multimeter. I'm using that as a temperature display. There's a thermocouple stuck in the back, and there's a stopwatch and remote control to turn on and off the oven. And down here I've got a little cheat sheet for myself to remind myself what to do. So it's the sequence of power up and what temperatures to run at and all that sort of thing. So I can do surface mount reflow there, and just hand surface mount under the microscope. Now there are a couple of other things that I want to improve about this. One of the issues, and you can see here the electronics part of it, and I'll back right up here as far as I can. So you can see to the left of the main computer is the electronics area, and then to the right of the main computer is some other workstations that I'll get to in a second. But there is a blank wall here, and there are windows right here. And initially I thought it would be great to have the electronics area under the windows, because that means that there's lots of natural light, you can get good illumination, but it turns out to be a bit of a pain. One of the problems, and I'm sure many of you would know what this is is you need wall space over the top, because you really need shelves, you need some way to get equipment up off the bench. And having that light just coming in through the top, it's good, but you can use artificial light. So I would rather have artificial light and have some shelves on the wall directly above the workbench. Then I could get things like the oscilloscope and a whole bunch of other gear up off the bench. It doesn't need to be much, only 300 mils, 200 mils off the bench, and stack some gear up there, get it out of the way. So one of the things I'm considering is basically inverting the layout of the room and taking all of this electronics area and putting it over on this wall. What I have over there at the moment is an extra workstation. There is the spot that Angus Grattan works at when he comes in, plugs in his laptop and away he goes. During the week the kids use that as their Minecraft machine. And there is the laser cutter down there. So I'll give you a quick tour down this side of the room. So there is a spot down there which, if the laser cutter was moved across, could be another workstation. And that's the laser cutter itself, which has just been rewired. It's got a new controller in it that Luke Weston put in, and so right now it's not running. We need to get some software on it. The electronics is all done, and sitting on top of that is Mark Alexander's MakerBot cupcake. That's number 187, I think it was. So it was a very early cupcake. And down here, there's some Goldilocks boards, some Freetronic stuff. And down here is my main 3D printer at the moment, which is a Mendel Max 2. It's sitting right beside my computer, which is okay in some ways, because while it's printing things, I've got it just over my elbow and I can keep an eye on it, see what's going on. But it probably needs to be a bit more out of the way. It's taking up valuable bench space there. It's got a few modifications on it. You can see down here that I've added an infrared thermometer, and that is connected to an 11 just over here, which is an Arduino compatible board. So it's tracking the temperature. Basically the infrared thermometer is pointing at the print bed, so it can report the temperature of the print bed as the head moves. And down in here I've also bodged up a little Z-axis limit switch. There was a Hall effect sensor on that, but it died pretty much as soon as I connected it, so I went back to a good old-fashioned micro switch. Other interesting things around here, panning back around the room a bit more, there is a bookcase which is full of all sorts of stuff. There's a light tent, big A3 duplex printer, which is great for printing out schematics. It's really handy doing printouts on A3 size, because you can trace things out and do circuit, design reviews and things like that. There's a whole lot of stuff on this bookcase. Some electronic parts, my old component drawers up here, which I've had since I was about 12 years old. That's just got old 5% resistors and things in it. Some books and various bits and pieces. Plastic tubs for storing projects and things I'm working on. Some folders, piles of spare boards. It's a bit like having my own private little Freetronics shop. So any bits and pieces that I need for projects that I'm working on, I can go and grab them pretty much. And oh yeah, one of the things that I want to improve is the light tent. At the moment what I do is carry that outside, use it in the sunshine, but that's no good on a wet day and it's no good at night. So what I really want is some place that I can put that light tent and leave it permanently set up. And you can see down there some folders for different projects. Further over here on the wall I've got a whole lot of component drawers. Let's go and have a look at those. Oh, there's an aeroplane. I've got I want to put an RG pilot system in there. So over here, I use this for storing all different things. You can see all different LEDs along here, MCUs. A lot of this is mechanical sort of stuff. So I've got lots of connectors. I've got, pin headers and sockets, that sort of thing, RCA sockets. And lots of mechanicals. So M3 bolts in all different lengths. Got plastic spacers in all different lengths. Steel washers and other bits and pieces. There's a power section there. I've got different batteries, I've got switches. So if you need plated through hole tact switches, I've got bags and bags, hundreds of them in there. All different styles, surface mount tact switches, different connectors. A lot of stuff though is just surface mount though. So right up here is a resistor kit. So I've got a couple of resistor kits. This one's no 603 resistor kit. And I've also got, just over here, bags of resistors. It's all in a bit of a mess right now. That all needs sorting out. And, oh yes, up on this wall, high up, there's some shelving with lots of plastic tubs. And there are different projects in there. What I do is use a storage system with different sized tubs for different things. So I've got really big tubs. These are sort of the medium sized ones. And then down on the bookcase, I've got the small tubs, just little containers for bits and pieces. But up here, I have lots of stuff that I need, or that I like to keep easily to hand. And there are many more of these tubs out in the garage as well on shelves. So you can see the stuff there related to the remote control plane, security sensors, Ethernet connectors, different tool related things. So the laser cutter is there. That's got all parts for the laser cutter. Lots of hard disks, plug packs, there are prototypes. And you can see just over here there are three, pretty much in the center of the frame now, there is, I'll zoom in a little bit, Arduino boards. So that's got a whole lot of Arduino compatible boards in there. Shields, so it's got things like prototyping shields and other stuff. Modules, there are sensors. So whenever I want to work on a project or do a prototyping, I can just reach up, grab what I need. Now you'll see that a lot of these tubs have stickers on them. Oh, they have post-it notes. And if you look closely, you'll see that some of those post-it notes have markings on them. That's because a little while ago I was doing a bit of an access frequency analysis. So anytime I access one of these, I made a mark on one. And then the idea was I would resort the tubs so that the ones that I need all the time would be down on the bottom shelf and easily accessible. And what else? Mac stuff, motors, things up there for the Mendel Max 3D printer, lots of bits and pieces. And oh yeah, there's the spool, so you get another view here. So the main area where I work, you can see the 3 screens that are connected to my laptop, and there's a 4th screen up the top which has a Raspberry Pi driving it. Now normally that has confidential information on it related to the business, so I've hidden that at the moment. I'm not going to show that in this video. Now I'll just step back around the corner here. So I'm stepping back around the L shape. So we're looking back now towards the inside of the door. So that's where I walked in. And up next to the door you can see the whiteboard. This is the whiteboard that you would have seen in some Superhouse videos. In fact, you can still see on there the diagram from the last video that I did, where I was talking about power over Ethernet. And the other part, the one bit of this that you haven't seen yet, well, back up here, got a little cell phone that I salvaged out of an Officeworks phone recycling tub, and that is connected up to a web interface, so I can control the lights around the place. Now in here is a little bathroom. So there's a sliding door. Need to do a bit more work in here. This is all still work in progress, but there is a bathroom with a toilet. Can't really see much without a wide angle lens on it, but there is a shower in here as well. There's no shower screen yet, and there are some parts on the floor there which are part of the drawer for this. So we took this dresser and modified it to put the basin in it. And as a result, there is plumbing. So those top 2 drawers are actually just fascias now. They're glued in place. You can't open them. And I need to modify the middle drawer so that it's U-shaped and it will slide in around that plumbing. And the wall is temperature control. You can see Ethernet for the light switch, which doesn't exist yet. And there's me. Hey. In fact, that view in the mirror gives you a bit of a better idea. So there is the shower back behind me. and then back out into the main work area. Oh yes, and there's a PCB Pre Heater. That's about the most recent thing I bought. I just got that a couple of days ago and I haven't used it for anything yet, but I heard PCB Pre Heaters mentioned on the amp hour and decided I had to get one, so I grabbed one of those. Should make things a lot easier when working with surface mount parts, doing rework. So now you've seen inside my lair. This is it. And when I'm on Twitter or whatever, typically that's where I'm sitting. It's always a bit strange seeing inside someone's place of work or their home. Gives you a much better idea of what they're up to. You can visualize what's happening at the other end when you see those things going up on Twitter or videos being posted. So this is the place that I work. And as I said, I want to try inverting this, and I think that'll make things a lot easier. I'll be able to have electronics along that wall and have this more as a general purpose desk area. So if you've got suggestions about other ways I could improve this workspace, please let me know. See you next time.